Contrary to what you may think, becoming likable is a skill. It can be learned, and it can be used to escape prison and print millions of dollars like I did. True story, by the way, I'll tell you in a second. Now, this can also be used to become amazing at sales and marketing, to build big brands, to close big business deals, to network with important people, and to routinely turn your enemies into your friends. This is alchemy, by the way. It's a real skill. You can actually do this in real time. Now, most YouTube videos out there will give you surface level advice. Oh, be nice to people, listen to what they have to say, etc., that kind of thing, right? This video is going to be completely different. The reason they only give you surface level advice is because they only understand it at a surface level. I understand the techniques and mechanisms you actually need to implement today so that you can use these skills in order to become very successful, right? But first, let me explain to you the story of how I got out of prison and how I made millions of dollars as well. So I escaped prison from Minsk, Belarus. Now, how I actually did this is an interesting story. So this happened around December of 2022. I was flying from Dubai to Minsk to visit an old friend I had there. And it was my first time there. And I was flying with my Canadian passport, right, which had a 30-day on-arrival visa. I flew there, no problems, right? I landed, but problems started when I reached passport control. So I started to go through the airport, and I noticed immediately that people were quite cold and distant, right? As many people maybe know that are from these parts of the world, this is how people are. They're quite cold. They don't smile a lot, right? I'm a Latino. I smile. I'm nice. You know, I make jokes. I'm friendly and things like this. But these people really did not, right? They had a cold, icy exterior. I noticed this. I'm walking through the airport, and I get to the passport control, and I give them my passport, my Canadian passport. And they look at my passport. They examine it with a steely gaze. And I take a look at the location of where I was born, and it says Pennsylvania, United States. And they said, okay, interesting. Come with us. Big Igor, 1.95 meter Igor comes and grabs me by the arm and says, come with me. Just takes me to the room, and he sits me down in front of another guy, Sergey. Sergey starts asking me, he's like, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm from Canada, right? You're born in America? Well, yes. He's like, give me your phone. So I give him my phone, right? Unlock it. He starts unlocking it, right? I put my password in. I give it to him. He starts going through everything. Starts going through my phone gallery, starts going through my Telegram. He finds in my Telegram contacts with +380 country code for phone number. If you guys know where that is, that's from Ukraine, right? I've got Ukrainian friends. Right? I've got friends from all over the world. He goes through my gallery. He finds my American passport. And my American passport obviously means that I'm American as well, right? Because I was born in America, I was naturalized as a Canadian. So you guys have to add up exactly what's going through these people's heads. First of all, I'm going in December of 2022. This was during the height of the war. I think it's still going on at the time of this filming. And I'm at this time a 22-year-old American male coming during December in wartime. There was nobody else Latino on the plane except me. Everybody else was Russian, Belarusian, right? So what's going through these people's heads? This guy's an American spy, right? So they go through my phone for 2 hours. Igor comes, takes me out, sits me down on another bench. 2 hours later, escorts me back in. And then I have 3, 4 more Belarusian men just standing above me, and they start talking to me in Russian. I mean, it's like, я не знаю. And I try to talk to them in my broken Russian. I mean, like, пожалуйста, let me go, right? And at some point, you kind of see in their faces, they were cold and steely at the start, but then at the end, they're kind of like, you know, this guy, maybe he seems innocent. I don't know. They have no reason to believe that I'm innocent. All the factors do not work in my favor at all. December 2022, winter, wartime, fighting age male, contacts with Ukrainians, right? Spy, it's always a spy, right? But I convinced them that I'm just a dumb tourist, that I'm just a dumb guy coming over to visit his friend, right? I didn't even have my friend's address. He forgot to give it to me. I didn't even know it. He was just going to take me, right? So I was just arriving with nothing. And eventually they're like, okay, you know what? I'll take you to a room. They took me to a room. I stayed there for 26 hours. And after 26 hours, they deported me back to Dubai, and I was let free, right? I spoke to after my friends in security, Israeli security, right? Pretty high level guys. And they told me, you could have stayed there forever. I've heard so many cases of people who've gone to Minsk, similar situation as you, who've simply been kept there. How did you get out? And I told them, I don't know. I mean, I spoke to them in my broken Russian. You know, I was like, пожалуйста, douche. When I was in that room, I couldn't shower. It was stinky. So they let me use the shower. It wasn't something they usually did. They let me get my bagage as well, so I could get some food that I had inside of there, change the clothes and stuff. And they're like, what? They don't allow this. Like, what do you mean they don't allow this, right? So this was one situation where my likability allowed me to get extra privileges and allowed me to literally escape having my whole life ruined forever. Imagine I just get deleted and nobody knows about me in Belarus, right? So I'm extremely grateful for this skill. These are very small, subtle things which I'm about to teach you, but they played a huge role in why I was able to get out of Belarus the way that I did, right? Now let me tell you about the time that I got hired by Andrew Tate, right? This is another story, right, of likability helping in my favor. So I joined the War Room in about September 2020, which was Andrew Tate's networking group, right? And I had gone to one of the events in May of 2021, right? Because previous to this, I had been looking for a role. I wanted to work with Tate. I was like, this is a guy that I want to learn from. This is a guy that I want to learn marketing and sales and improve my abilities with, right? So I've been messaging back and forth, and they weren't really accepting people, right? So they weren't really replying to me as well. So I was like, okay, maybe they just don't know who I am. You know, at the time I was 21, I was completely green, and nobody had any impression of me whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I took the money that I was making with copywriting during that time, right? Not that much money, dropped 10K for this event in Miami, flew over from my native Canada, and I went to meet Tate in person. Guys, the most powerful way to influence somebody is gonna be in real life. If I could speak to you right now, one-on-one, I would, but I couldn't. The next best thing for me to do is to make these YouTube videos so you guys can understand exactly who I am. Now, flew to Miami, went down there, met Tate, shook his hand, and like, hey, I wanna work with you, right? I'm competent, I'm smart. I don't know marketing and sales yet to the level that you guys do, but I'm ready to learn. They said, okay, cool, speak to Luke. And that was it, right? Loads of candidates, hundreds of people, thousands of people emailing us, thousands of people messaging us, all wanting to work with Tate. And I managed to do it. There were also 40 other people competing with me as well, and I still managed to get the position, right? Huge factor for this came down to my likability, right? And as I said as well, you can use this skill to turn your enemies into your friends. I guarantee with you, it doesn't matter who it is, I'm gonna sit down with them, one-on-one, we're gonna speak, and at the end of this, they are going to like me, or at the very least, we are going to settle our differences and see eye to eye. It doesn't matter how much somebody hates me. If any of my enemies right now are watching this video, because some people found a way to hate me for some reason, perhaps some of the mistakes that I did, nobody's perfect, right? I guarantee if we sit down right now and I talk with you, one-on-one, genuinely, we're gonna come and we're gonna resolve our differences. Every single time. This is an ability that I have. This is an ability that's allowed me to get out of precarious situations, some of the most ghetto slums in the world, around the world. For example, in Peru, some of the most dangerous areas of La Perla. I don't know why I was hanging around there, right? If anybody of you guys are familiar with that area, but I was playing some soccer. I came back, had some altercations, but you just alchemize the situation. You make people like you, right? Or in bars and nightclubs. Sometimes, honestly, I can be a bit of a cunt sometimes because I want to push limits. I want to see how far I can take things and then bring things back and then make things smooth, make things clear. And I've done that many times, been at the brink of violence and you just bring it back. So now let's go into the techniques and the mechanisms behind how to make you likable so you can achieve all these things and anything else you want to do, because at the end of the day, all life is just humans, skills and humans. Humans is a huge component, so let's learn. So how do you become likable? Well, the number one thing you have to do is you have to be genuine and you have to be honest. If you're not completely sincere in your intentions, people are going to feel it. People can smell these things subconsciously. There's a gut feeling people have, and you're going to be off-put if you're not completely sincere and honest with them. So that's the number one thing. You have to be genuine and honest. The second thing you have to be is you have to be non-judgmental and understand people's point of view. Now, people come from all different walks of life, all different races, all different creeds. Everybody has a different story, right? Some of the story they've chosen through their actions, and some of the story they've not chosen through misfortune and through things that have happened to them, right? So many things in our lives are out of our control, and once you see all the different perspectives of the world, you understand why people do things. You understand why the drug addict is a drug addict. You understand why the alcoholic is an alcoholic. You understand why the successful person made all this money, right? You understand this, and once you understand this, you can sympathize with people. When you sympathize with people, they'll feel understood, they'll feel heard. Right? And that's the most important thing, because a lot of times you go into interactions and we have preconceived notions. Oh, he's black, or he's Asian, or he looks this way, or I don't like this kind of person. No. If you go into an interaction with that mindset, these people are going to feel it, and they're going to hold up a barrier between you two, and they're not going to like you the same way that they would, right? So keep this in mind. Be non-judgmental of people. The next thing you have to do is do not be a suck-up. Have integrity and be respected, right? Nobody likes somebody who flatters somebody incessantly for no reason, right? Every compliment that you give should be genuine, right? And don't overdo it either. Once or twice is enough, right? If you must give people their flower for something that they've done, be sincere and genuine. Don't come from a place also of needing something from someone, because that's the biggest thing. If you give a compliment because you want somebody to like you, you want something from them, That's not going to work. People are going to feel it, right? You have to not be a suck up. People don't like that. Have respect for yourself. So the next point is active listening. You should say things such as, yup, yeah, it makes sense, that kind of thing. People want to be heard. People want to be understood, right? It's very important. It's a very subtle thing you can do. Next thing you can do is you can let people speak about themselves. But this is one you've probably heard before. You've probably heard before, yeah, people like to talk about themselves, but that's not necessarily true, right? A lot of people don't like themselves. So what's actually happening here? What's actually happening is that when you let somebody talk about themselves or talk about whatever they want to talk about, right? Because sometimes they talk about topics. During this time, as long as you make people feel truly heard, as long as you truly care about what they're saying, they're going to feel that. And every single word they say is going to reinforce that, because when people speak, they sell to themselves, and they're selling to themselves the feeling of you actually listening to them, you actually caring about them. And then when they think back at the interaction, they're going to be like, when I spoke, this person actually gave a fuck what I had to say. Right? And they've convinced themselves of that as they were speaking. So that's the actual true mechanism at play here. Every single other video is going to tell you that people like to speak about themselves. That's not necessarily true. So let's keep going now. You should ask smart questions and be curious, of course. Remember details in the conversation. This is actually very, very important, is to remember details, right? And via these details, you can ask important questions, specific questions, and this is really going to impress people. I'm surprised a lot of people don't do this, but the reason people don't do this is because people don't actually pay attention in conversations, right? So actually pay attention. It's very simple. Listen, have nothing else in your mind except the person that's in front of you or the people that are in front of you, and truly pay attention. Look them in the eye. That's another tip, right? Look people in the eye with a calm and serene expression. Don't be overbearing, and don't be too aloof as well, right? Calm, steady, also energetic, right? Also vivid, also lucid, and listen to these people, right? It's very important. Builds a lot of comfort. Now, the next thing is you should be having positive thoughts of goodwill and positive aura, right? And this also plays into making yourself respected as well. And this is more of an esoteric secret, right? You've all met these people who can just sit down with you, who can just make you feel at ease, who can just force you to respect them, right? You're like, how can I not respect this person? This person respects himself completely, has that aura of, don't fuck with me, right? But he's also nice, he's also kind, right? He also makes you feel at ease, makes you feel comfortable. Also has a positive aura, makes you feel good, right? Because that's all it is, right? These are the intangibles. Doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter how I look at you, doesn't matter how I move my hands on the camera, What matters at the end of the day, that's intangible, that's difficult for me to transmute through the camera, is the vibe. If you do meet me in person, you'll understand exactly why I've been able to turn my enemies into my friends, why I've been able to escape prison, why I've been able to get out of these situations, why I've been able to network with some of the most successful people in the world, and why I've been able to make all of this money as well, right? It's a human thing, right? Life is two things, skills and humans. Skills is your value, your techniques, the things that you learn, whatever it is that you have, that you've developed. And then humans, that's the other part you've got to influence now. So I hope with this video you've learned a thing or two about how to be likable, and that's all. Until next time. One more thing before I go. If you want to learn all of the esoteric secrets behind how to become likable, the positive aura, the making people respect you, all of that present stuff, you can learn that inside of Cloud Profit Academy. You can watch a free presentation on exactly how to do that by clicking the link in the description, cloudprofit.com, right? You can also see how you can apply the Tate secrets to your brand or business to achieve wild success and print millions of dollars online, right? Also, you should join my Telegram channel for free daily sauce. I drop there every single day, and I also host semi-regularly live calls. You can speak to me directly. Also in the description of the Telegram channel, you have my personal Telegram handle where you can message me directly for any questions at all, right? That's t.me/cloudprofit. You can also find that link in the description. And that's all. Until next time.